Hello, now that you've got VPython installed on your machine and you've tested it by running the test program bounce, I'm going to show you how to write your first program. Okay, so we always write the same first simple program in any computer language. It's called Hello World and it's designed just to print out the words Hello World. We're going to do that and a little bit more. So I'm going to go into my applications folder, scroll down and find VIdle and open that up. This will be in your programs folder instead of applications if you're running a Windows machine. Okay, so there we go. We get this window, and this is the window in which we write our programs. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sign my work even before I start using a line that starts with a hashtag. I'm going to say what the name of my program is, Hello World, and I'm going to put the date. Let's see, it's June 3rd. Okay. Now, these lines totally mean absolutely nothing to Python. They totally ignore these lines. These are called comments. They start with a hash, and whenever Python sees a line that starts with a hash, it just goes to the next line. Doesn't exist. Okay, so these are comments for humans. You don't necessarily have to start this way, but before you send me a file, you probably want to put this kind of stuff at the top for me because it's a way of signing your work. Okay, so let me tell you the first line we have to put in before we can get anything to work correctly here in Python. It's from space underscore underscore future underscore underscore import print underscore function. Oops, I misspelled function. Comma division. Okay, so what this is doing is importing a couple of definitions from a module called underscore underscore future underscore underscore. Note that there's two underscores before and after the future. Okay, and you don't really have to know what this does, but it will make things easier for us later on in the year if we have to update VPython, which I'm considering doing this year in 2013-14. Okay. Okay, so but that has to be, if you put that line in and it's anywhere other than the very first line that Python reads, Python will not like that, so it has to be first. Okay, so now let's get down to the business of writing our program. We want to print out the words hello world. Python's brilliant because it's such a simple command. Print, open paren, close paren, and Python will print whatever's in those parentheses. Okay, so I wanted to print the words hello world, and I put those words in a quotation marks. What that tells Python, it says everything inside the quotation marks, just print it as is. Okay, it's a string of words. That's what the quotes mean. We'll see situations later on where we won't use quotes and you'll be able to see the difference. Now let's run this. First thing we want to do is we want to tell this to save. Save. I'm gonna not put this in the examples folder. VIdle wants to open up the examples folder. Bad place to put your documents. Bad place. Go to documents or my documents on a Windows machine. Create a folder like I have here called VPython programs. Now all your programs will be in there. All of your programs will be in there, not mixed in with programs other people have written. Okay, and I'm going to name this. This is the way I want you to name your programs. First name, underscore, and then the name of the program. Hello world dot py. You have to add the .py. VIdle will not add the .py for you, and if you don't add the .py, well, there are problems down the road. Just take my word for it. You add the .py. Okay, so save. There we go. We've got saved. Now I'm going to run it. Go up to run module, or the F5 key. Hello world. Yeah. See, this little window pops up, and in this window called a Python shell, any print statements in your program will be printed out in this window. Also, error messages will be printed out in this window. So it's a good thing to have this window sort of shaped short like this and put down at the bottom of the page out of the way of your main window. And don't close it, just leave it open the rest of the time you're working, so that error messages will pop up in here and you'll notice them right away. Okay, so now let's try something from Visual Python or VPython. We're going to make a sphere. I'm just going to make a default sphere, open parentheses, close parentheses, and now let's save this again, and then let's run it. Uh-oh, I got an error message. Printed hello world and then threw me an error message. Okay, and the error, it says it's in line 9, sphere, so it doesn't like something about this line here, and what it doesn't like is that sphere is not defined, and that's because sphere is defined in VPython, not in Python. So to make sure we're running VPython, we have to import the visual module. That's what V stands for. So from visual import star, and what star is, that's shift 8. What star does is import everything that's in this module called visual. Okay, so now let's save this, and then let's run this and see what happens. Okay, there we go. We have hello world and we have a sphere. We've got default values for the sphere. Put the sphere in the middle, give it a radius of 1, make it white. Those are boring, plain vanilla defaults, but we didn't tell sphere in here in these parentheses. We could tell it what the position should be, or what the color should be, or what the radius should be. Okay, so and we can define all those things later on in your first tutorial that you do called 10_vectors. You will do all those things with a sphere, but for right now that's enough for this video. Remember to save your work, remember to put the .py extension on it, and remember to start all programs with these 2 lines right here. That's good.